Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Introduction to ESL Teaching. Okay, so in part 3 we're going to talk about different types of teachers and their attitudes towards the students. Okay, so I'd like to begin by having you remember teachers and their lessons that you had and, what you thought made a good teacher. So which teachers do you remember, what do you remember about them, what do you remember their lessons, um, how do you remember how was the feeling of the class? Do you remember any specific lessons or techniques or, anything about them? Okay. Um, and then why don't you think about your teaching and think about how the teachers that you had as a child may have shaped your teaching in certain ways. Okay, and then now let's think about what we think are important in a teacher. What makes a good teacher? What makes a bad teacher? What are excellent qualities that a teacher can have? So here are some ones that I came up with, and you can, think through them and think about which ones you think are the most important and which ones are less important or whatever. Okay, so here they are. Being a good listener, being respectful of the students, being fair, having a sense of humor, providing good feedback, being patient, inspiring confidence, being authentic, having empathy, being trusting and giving autonomy to the students, being honest, being organized, being approachable, being enthusiastic and inspiring enthusiasm, being authoritative, not overcomplicating things, being non-judgmental. Okay, so there are a couple things that I want to talk about. I think that rapport with your students is extremely important, and the more that they feel comfortable in the class and stuff like that is extremely key, because we want to be able to get them to be able to take risks and be able to make mistakes and stuff like that. So in a book by Carl Rogers, he emphasizes 3 things. One is respect, which means, what respect means, okay? And then one is empathy, which means really having a deep understanding of the other person. And the last one is authenticity, which means showing your true personality and not playing a role. So let's talk about 3 different types of teachers. The first one is going to be the explainer teacher, the one who stands up there and starts explaining everything and has a deep knowledge of the subject matter and really likes to share it with people. The second one is one who follows organizational procedures and techniques and has studied a bit of teaching theory and tries to give some trust to the students, but really is kind of trying to control how the students are doing things. And then the third type of teacher is one who really shares control of the class and even sometimes completely hands control over to the students, and sees themselves more as a guide, a counselor, or a resource of information. And I'm going to try to argue here that the best type of teacher is this third type of teacher who really hands over control to the students. I think it also takes some experience and it takes some trust in yourself and in the students in order to be able to do this. But if you are able to do it, then a lot of the time you end up with a lot better of a class. So that's why I'm trying to sell you on this type of teaching. So this is the end of part 3, and thank you for listening.